Yeah, that. So, like what we were talking about earlier today.
Yeah, you're gonna say hello there.
Look at this.
I ain't gonna say nothing, I'm just gonna dive right in.
There we go. Oh, there. I hope that he's having a wonderful night.
Yay!
Yeah, you notice how it's slanted up?
Yeah.
I'm happy. Speaking of him. Wilfred, move your butt. Anyway. So tonight we're going to be working a little bit on environment and actually planning out somewhat of a map of how we want to do this.
I have a cool little snippet of useful information. Before we get all serious, can we talk about this new centipede that they found?
Mm-hmm.
I cannot remember the name of the island, but they've only found them on one island. And it is a centipede that gets 18 inches by 3 inches wide. It's venomous and it's amphibious. They like to eat shrimp out of the creek, and they're just as at home on land as they are like a centipede hippopotamus. Is that not some creepy shit?
That is some creepy stuff.
Could you imagine seeing an almost foot-long fucking centipede run across your path?
I could.
I couldn't. I'd scream. I have a hard enough time with the 2-inch ones I find in my garden.
Yeah.
And they don't even give a shit about me. They're like, oh, you're too big. See you later. Don't squish me, please. This bitch will be like, yeah, motherfucker, you step on me, I ain't gonna crunch. Oh, come on, that was funny. You're so just. It's 8 inches, not a foot.
8 inches?
Yeah, is that almost a foot?
Almost a foot, okay.
Could you imagine finding that fucker in your garden? I mean, okay, it's something having a 6-foot snake in your garden that likes to come hang out with you. It's a whole nother ballgame when it's a fucking venomous fucking centipede. Yeah, and do you think if it did, do you think Big Mama would eat it? Do you think she'd be able to eat it?
I do think she'd be able to eat it.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So we'd be safe?
We'd be safe.
We'd be safe from the big ass centipede because we got a big ass snake.
That's probably the funniest thing I've ever heard.
Well, and this triggered me to look for something else because, you know, my irrational fear of spiders. And how I'm like, what if they get really fucking huge, like 8-legged freaks and fucking stomp on us and shit? Can you imagine that shit? My god, that's like terrifying. It's like the shit of nightmares. The largest Jurassic spider that they found was a leg, and it was only 2.5 inches. So spiders, ironically, out of everything on this planet that got gigantism, were the only things that didn't. See, it is going to have to be radioactive. They're gonna go through some radioactive waste and they're gonna turn into some fucking giant spiders and we're all dead. I love jumping spiders, they're so fucking cute. But not if they ran through toxic waste and are now as big as me. That would be a nightmare because they could just jump on your ass. You can run, but you can't hide!
You're funny.
Oh god, that's the scariest shit in the world to think about a giant ass fucking 20-foot tall jumping spider. Yep, just kill me. I don't want to live in a world with 20-foot jumping spiders.
I could live with jumping spiders.
And that's why I like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and they're good. Most likely not good.
But they're not deadly to humans.
Actually, if they were that big, they probably would be. The only reason they're not is because of their size. It's like the daddy longlegs is one of the most poisonous spiders on this planet, especially to humans, but their mouths are too small to break our skin. Don't I feel stupid for playing with them when I was a kid? Look, it's a daddy longlegs. Let him crawl all over me. It's kind of like people playing with a blue-ringed octopus. It's so cute! Yeah, and it secretes a poison that'll kill you in about 5 minutes, so have fun with me. Another bit of useless information that's kind of cool. What we saw with the octopus, do you want to tell them about that?
Oh, the ape?
No. The one that was dreaming.
Oh, when octopus dream, they change colors. And it's amazing. They like camouflage in their sleep.
And actually, if you read the subtitles to it, when it turned that reddish color, a crab walked under it, so it camouflaged to the crab. And it was just like this really cool little light show. If you Google it or YouTube it, you'll find it. But they think that it was dreaming, and while it was dreaming, it was camouflaging itself to match its dream and its actual surroundings. But my question is, how did it know to turn red when the crab was underneath it? That means that it's not a conscious decision, that it's something genetic that tells them I need to be red.
Yeah.
Which is even cooler. I mean, when you think about it, we think about, oh, well, it's got to think, hey, I got to match this, so let me do this.
Yeah.
But it's starting to look like, at least to me, that it is not necessarily a voluntary response. It is an automatic thing. It just camouflages.
Yeah.
Okay, like the mimic octopus. It does some crazy shit. And I was watching this little documentary thing about how they make the colors. And I guess they have little pouches that have little pockets that have this stuff that reflects light for, I think it was red, green, and blue in one layer. And then in another layer, it's black and white. And then in another layer, it's the rest of the colors. So basically, their skin warps to give them the colors and patterns that they need. It warps the light to do that. I think it's fucking badass. Such amazing creatures. Just don't try to eat them when they're alive.
Eat them while they're alive. Gotcha.
I'm sorry. I feel horrible for doing it because it was mean, but she deserved it. That YouTuber that decided she was going to shock everybody, shock and all. I'm going to eat a live octopus, and then it attached itself to her face.
That was great.
She still ate it. I'd have let the fucker live. I'd have been like, alright, you won. You won the battle. Here you go. But I think after knowing as much as I do about octopus, I could never eat another octopus again because they're smarter than some people I know. What do you think?
That they are. I wouldn't be able to eat octopi again either.
Well, you gotta admit, it is delicious, even if it is a little rubbery. But knowing that it would be like eating a dolphin in the ocean.
Hmm. That's a different way to look at it.
It's like we don't eat dogs here because we see dogs as being intelligent. They're pets, not food, but in other countries they're food. And they actually raise them and breed them to sell as food. Do you imagine how much of a meal Alfred would be?
You'd be a
That
big
leg,
meal.
dude, that's my leg. Sorry.
That leg, Mom. That leg.
That leg. Coda's past his prime. We couldn't eat him.
No, we could, but what good would that do us, you know?
And I don't know, it's like I really don't eat fish very much. After having fish, I just, some fish are very highly intelligent, like Oscars and cichlids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right about that one.
Well, I had my Oscar for 15 years and my other one for, goodness, about 8, I want to say. So, yeah, I had a lot of experience with Oscars. And they're very intelligent fish. Very, very intelligent fish.
Yeah, I see that.
It seems to be the carnivorous fish that are the smartest.
Yeah.
So do you think that that's because they have to actually hunt their food, and a lot of times that means outsmarting their food?
Yeah, actually.
Because they're starting to find out that sharks are actually quite intelligent, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
They went from, oh, it's just a killing machine to, wait a second, they're actually pretty brilliant. If you ever watch, they do sometimes what dolphins do, and they herd their food. And I think it's pretty fucking cool. Oh, and did you know that there is an animal in the ocean that they call the spaghetti monster? It looks like an eyeball with spaghetti sticking out of it, and it's a relative of the man o' war. And they call it the spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
All here, the spaghetti monster. Right?
Right. That's nice. Oh, heavens. Hold on, everybody. Hey everyone. Anyway, any more other information?
Oh, I guess. Yes, then no. I'll leave it at that. That's like an overload of information right there. I had a very eventful day with YouTube. Like, what the fuck is this? Hey, what's this? Hey, whoa, wait a second. What's this? Oh, how about that worm that they found, the Jurassic worm, that it took them almost 100 years to figure out how it actually walked? And it's like an inch long, it's got spikes on the back of it, and it's got teeth.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh, it's creepy as fuck looking. It looks almost like the little crab legs. Not the big clawed ones, but the little crab legs.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like its legs look like that, and then it's got like big spikes on the back of it, like a porcupine, and it's only an inch long. And they only ever found the fossil, but somebody finally figured out where the head is on it and how it actually stands. The first guy that was like, oh, well, this is how this goes, said that it walked on the spikes and that the other things were like tentacles. And then somebody recently is like, nah, actually, those are the teeth. And figured out where the actual head was and that it had teeth. It had sharp little teeth.
That's interesting.
Yeah, a fucking worm with teeth, man.
Sorry, I'm looking for something real quick.
No, it's all good.
That'll help me out with making a legend and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I was having fun today. Some days are just learning days and I overload myself until my brain's like, stop it.
There's this book called How to Draw Fantasy Art and RPG Maps.
Uh-huh.
And I was actually enthralled with how they do their legends and stuff, and how they come up with their math. And I was thinking maybe looking at this book while doing the map tonight would be a good idea.
Okay.
Because I can draw the mountain range out.
Well,
have the river
and
that's it.
specify legend. I mean, legend can have a lot of meanings. You mean like your, what's the other word for it? Your key?
Yeah,
Okay.
like, see, you
Yes. No, I know.
have your mountain range, your river, forest. You get it.
You know that background is really obnoxious, right?
I didn't know that. I will,
It's warping your
where is it?
letters. Write something real quick and look up at it.
I'm just gonna solve that problem right here.
Yeah, puke green, huh? I guess it's not quite puke green, it's all one.
Okay.
So, how you feeling about the storyline from last night?
I am loving it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I thought of a little twist to throw in there, but
Well, if you would like, I could always plug in your keyboard and we can go back to that.
well, I mean, even with what's written down, we'd remember this because it's how about if Emma is younger and not her sister, but her daughter? And that's why her family is so proud of her, because she had a baby very early in life and raised her and still accomplished all of this. And that creates a better bond, because you can have a lot of animosity towards your sister, but you're going to have a wholly different feeling towards your daughter.
Well, okay, hold on. Can we switch to the Word document so we can change that around if we're gonna do
So
that?
I'll remember that. I'm just running it by you. I just want to know how you feel about doing that. Make her around 9, 10 years old, which would have made her 15, right?
Right.
So her accomplishing what she accomplished was a big deal. That's why her family was there. So it kind of fits better into the story than it being her sister.
Yeah, it does.
And it creates a stronger bond between the two characters because she's going to do whatever it takes to save her daughter, right?
Right.
And then if you make the wrong choice and Emma dies, that sends her into a tailspin and everything gets really crazy because she's not thinking straight. Which means that your choices are going to get even more fucked up because she's not thinking straight. Right?
Right.
I mean, the secret to it all is not making it flat. Like, I see with a lot of video games, the relationships, okay, like Resident Evil 6. Okay, he comforts her when her sister dies and he tries to help her, but other than that, where's the relationship between them?
There isn't really
It's
one.
nothing more than a trauma bond. So if you can create, and so it's like just topographical. So what I think we should try to do is actually make it a deeper connection between these characters.
Well, okay, and if that is the case, the other thing that we can think about too with our characters is if that Chad and Derek should be best friends. Chad and Derek
And that's
should be
part of
best
why
friends.
Rosie doesn't trust him.
Yes.
Okay.
Or Maria.
Maria. Yeah, Maria. Well, you can also make it so that it's implied that Rosie doesn't trust him, because you're going to have an opening scene, right?
Well, an opening, yeah.
I mean, you go through, pick your character, customize your character, do whatever you're going to do, and then you get on the boat, and when you get on the boat, it's going to be the cutscene, right?
Right. And that's when everything's gonna go right.
Yes. So basically, that leaves the other characters. Where do they fit into it? That's what I'm trying to figure out. If all of these people know each other, then it would only make sense that those people know them also, which would give them cause to follow whoever they followed, right?
Yeah.
Because there's already an established friendship there. I mean, right now it's basically just a rough draft, but a very, very rough outline.
Yeah.
And once we get a little bit more of it figured out and the dynamics of it figured out, I'll sit down and actually write it all out and we'll go over it and see what you like and change what you don't. And I'd like to have Tubbs involved when we do that because he has a lot of really good input on it. I think that we all kind of bounce ideas off of each other very well. And I like the input because he thinks of things like that we don't think about, like the taunting.
Yeah.
That is better than anything I came up with. Let's just be honest here.
Better than anything I could have come up with.
So having his mind involved in helping with the story, and well, he's been helping create these characters the whole time anyway. So
You gave me a better idea. And I'm not opening the Sultan Cracker. I wanted to show you an idea that I had. But I'm gonna use just like a regular blank document of it when it
I'm
pulls
really
up.
digging the story. I'm having fun with it. It is going to be rather gruesome, but I'm going to leave that out when we're streaming because, well, people don't need to know all of that, really.
Yeah.
Yay!
He's been like this all day.
Well, he's been on edge ever since that happened last night with the cat down the way.
Yeah. Okay, so you know how you gotta like find the
Well, okay, I guess the biggest decision that you have to make, because you're the one doing that part of it, is how many different terrains do you want, or do you want it to just be like mountainous woodland? Because that's basically where you find them, right?
yeah.
And you're gonna have to look into what creates the rapids in streams, right?
Right.
So that you know how to make the rapids. Because a lot of times, I mean, at least as many times as I've been, not all of your rapids are on a turn. Some of them are just there and there's a lot of rocks. And that's what makes some of the rapids really hard to traverse, is because there's so many fucking big rocks in the way, and you hit one of those rocks and your boat is toast.
Oh yeah. You have a point, and
Well, I'm just thinking, you wanted to make it as true to life as possible, right?
right.
So that's something that you're going to have to research and look into and whatnot. And maybe sometime this summer we could find an easy rafting trip and we could all go so you can see what it's actually like.
I would love that.
They have a few up in Idaho Springs, I think it is, that are a very nice leisurely raft. Going down the Platte River, although you got E. coli in the river most years, I mean, you can rent a raft and go down there, but
There was one that I was like, it's perfect for making a mountain out of. You get that one too,
I mean, I know you want to put a bunch of terrains in there, but when you look at the mountainous regions where they usually are, there's not really plains. About the only place that I've seen that they find those skinwalkers that has plains is in Utah. And there's not much of a mountain range in Utah.
you see how that changed that up a bit and it looked
Yes.
more smooth.
But I really did like Tubbs's idea of taking the basic map for Skinwalker Ranch and tweaking it to how you want it.
Yeah, and I like that idea too. We were also talking about taking the place here in Colorado and tweaking it. Like, okay, you see how that's starting to look more like mountains?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking, is by using like displacement stuff and displacement maps, I can create the terrain I need. I need to just grab the texture that I want to use and place it in my material. Or if I want to make these look like actual mountains, what's really, really cool and something that I've actually been studying with this program is,
Cat's knocking.
yep, I can't let you in, buddy. I would, but I can't. It would be unfair. But, yeah, like, one thing.
No, I totally get that.
Like, see how that looks more like a mountain range? There you go. Like, you have some flat, which would lead to cliffs, some rocky. So, pretty much the reason I was thinking about this was I was thinking, okay, if I were a skinwalker, how would this look? And then I started reading this book, which is Design a Level in 11 Days.
Mm-hmm.
Actually wrote down a lot of the questions they ask, and I sat there kind of with my eyes closed, picturing how I'd want my level. But the first question that the book asks you is,
Sucker.
sorry, everybody. What is your map story? And thinking on that, its story would have to be a place that is touched by man but not fully. I'm going to go scare the living crap out of your cat if he says
No,
that
don't
stuff.
do that. He's super
All I gotta do is
good.
lean over and go, "Bee!" Chase him away and trying to love on him.
He wants to go sit in the window because that black cat's out there. And I just really don't feel like chasing a cat down at this hour of the night outside. He's mad but I want to eat that cat.
Going to pop myself outside that door and love on him.
And he's pretty spry for an old guy.
Yeah, he is. But,
He's gonna eat through the door!
yeah, it sounds like it. But no, I wanted to show you what I was thinking in terms of making the mountains because this program is amazing.
Stop tearing the door down. Hey, no. Come on, Bubby. Come on, Bubba. Come on, Bubba. You don't want me to love you, don't come back on the door.
That's exactly what I was about to do.
I'm going to love you. I'm going to love you. Look, I touched you. I touched you. Oh. Worse than the kids.
Shit.
Okay, we can't. Alright, guys. Who was a good boy? Who was a good boy? Yes, who was a good boy?
Yep, this is our silly nights. But that's the first question the book asks you, and you gotta think like, what's your architecture gonna look like? What's the actual environment going to look like? So I sat there with my eyes closed, just kind of picturing it, and I see like this forest area that leads up into the mountains. And I see the rapid rivers, the slow rivers, the rapid rivers, the slow rivers, and you have like them kind of branching. Hi, Alfred.
Get out the window.
Hold on, everybody.
okay, let's try this again.
So, basically, I sat there just kind of picturing how I would want it. And a way that I would know my environment well enough to be able to stop these people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the next question it asked was, why is the player there?
That's what we've been working on.
That is.
And we've
And
also been working on the reason for the map. The story to the map, that's what that is.
yeah. Yeah, that it is.
I mean, I guess the beauty of it is you can literally do whatever you want.
So it's like open world.
Well, you basically have no rules because you're creating it. You could have it be like Mushroom Land in Minecraft, and people would be like, "Oh, that's cool. We're gonna be a skinwalker chasing people through the mushroom forest. That's kind of cool, right?"
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's funny you bring up Minecraft because I was thinking about going in creative mode at some point and building out how I saw the little abandoned cabin that we've been talking about.
And that would be a good way to do it. You could even do the storefront that way too.
I could. And take those and take them in and actually, instead of 8-bit them, make them into actual models.
That should be how she learns his name. It was the owner of the cabin that turned into the skinwalker. And she finds a diary.
See, I could do some really cool. You know what game actually inspires me with that stuff?
That should be it right there. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
I like it. Yeah, you make me want to pull up the Word document and start typing this
I'll
out.
remember a little bit, so don't worry about that. It'll probably change a little bit between getting written down and. But that gives her 3 options for the name.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
But if you don't find the cabin.
Well. Okay, you know how in both Resident Evil and Fatal Frame they have it up to like 2-3 pages? Sometimes 4?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we should do something like that so that way it's telling a story within a story. Like,
Oh, dude, I could do a fucked up story for the diary. I could really do a fucked up story for the diary. And if you wanted to go in the way of Resident Evil, you could find pages of it throughout the forest. So you're only getting a bit of the story at a time. Well, people seem to like it better trickled down instead of given to them all at once. Think about it. Like with Resident Evil, when they gave you 2-3 pages, did you read the whole thing?
Yeah.
How many people do you think didn't?
A lot.
So you kind of got to think about that. You might also see, but the other thing that works really well with that is you find the page and then you have the person's voice narrate it instead of you having to read it. And that way you help people like you who are dyslexic and have a hard time reading.
If Beardy Ghost is watching this, I want you to narrate it.
Yes, 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 yes. I second that. And third it, because I get 2 votes. Oh, and I fourth it, because there's me, myself, and I. That would be awesome. His voice would be perfect for that.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
I will have to have a conversation with him about that.
I would love for him to do it. He's got a great voice for that.
Right?
I don't know why he's not in broadcasting. I really don't. And I hope you heard that.
But no, so like the other thing I was thinking with this environment too is that you should have cliffs. Like when you're getting towards the edge of the map.
Okay, but we also have to think of, I don't mean to interrupt you on this, but this is something, you were talking about that last night, and I was thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, the game is already going to be hard enough without having some, I mean, do you know how pissed off people are going to be if they're running from the Skinwalker and just run the fuck off a 70-foot cliff? Like, seriously, I'd be like, fuck this game. That's fucked up. I mean, like, have it so that they, like, slide down the mountain and end up in a fucked up place in the thing and you gotta figure out how to get back up. Or something like that. As for injuries, I wouldn't give them any major injuries because, like, a broken leg is gonna make it so that you're not gonna be able to finish the game. So you're basically, in essence, by doing that stuff, cock-blocking the person from enjoying the game.
I was talking about throwing the cliffs at the edge of the map, so don't go.
Well, I think that you should do like what game is it to where you can see the edge but you can't walk over it?
Oh yeah, that's what the cliff idea was. I wasn't thinking, oh, we're gonna make this.
Well, no, because you did bring that up. What if we let them fall off a cliff and they could like break their leg? And I'm like, yeah, but how are they gonna finish the game? Because a lot of people wouldn't know how to brace their leg that was broken.
Well, I already thought better of that one. I was already thinking that it should be the edge of the map, and with it being the edge of the map, you can't really go over it.
I mean, okay, let's think about this. You want to keep it as realistic as you can, but the more that you harm your characters, the harder the game is going to be for them. And if you're just wandering around and all of a sudden you fall into this hole and break your leg and can't get out of it, you got to start the game over and you're going to lose people. Right? You could have that be how you lose one of the other people, is that you're instead of it actually happening to the player, have it be the whole group is walking and dude just falls into a fucking sinkhole in the middle of the forest and gets impaled on something. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm into impalings.
Yeah, how many things are you going to say impaled about?
Well, okay, that's the go-to. That's like the number one thing that happens in the woods, right? Is falling and getting impaled on something. So that's why my mind always goes there.
I could see why.
Okay, or you could do like the dude that had the boulder fall on his arm and he had to like amputate his arm to get it out and survive. But that's kind of, how do you play that into it? They'd have to leave him.
Well, you also got to remember that you're going to have traps and stuff too, because Chad and Derek are dicks and decided easier to trap than just hunt, because that's part of the hunt.
Okay, and I get that. But that's kind of, you got to decide but if you're not controlling the other people, how does that fit into the story? Right? And I thought we kind of agreed that they were just going to like disappear at different intervals. And you'd hear them in the forest, but it's not really them because the Skinwalker already got them. And isn't it the Skinwalker is taunting Chad and Derek?
Yeah.
And that's why they're slowly picking off all of the other people. And then that begs the question, when you get into gameplay, are the only two characters you see going to be Chad and Derek, or are you going to see the rest of the people too until they get picked off?
You're going to see the rest of the people too until they get picked off.
Okay, so that brings us back to what Tubbs was talking about last night with your AI characters. Are they going to be dumb and do stupid shit?
Well, I think that should...
Oh, hey, there's a forest fire. Let me go dance in it. La la la. Yeah.
I think that should really depend on the difficulty. Like, if you do it on easy...
See, but I agree with him. You don't want your AI people to be that.
Well, no, they'll still be intelligent enough not to be like, oh, fire,
Look,
fire,
it's a
ha.
fire, it's a party, it's a margarita.
No, like they'll be smart enough to follow you, but like if you play on a difficult level, it's gonna be harder to convince them to go with you.
I'm gonna air guitar on this burning branch. Oh, it's Burning Man. Okay, I'm done. Okay, I'm done. Seriously. No more smart ass comments from Peanut Gallery.
Oh, come on, Peanut Gallery. I love the Peanut Gallery.
Oh, you know I'm lying. I can't help it. It just comes out. My filters are like fucked up somehow. Anyhow. So, okay, we gotta have that in there.
Burning.
You just put in the fire. Sorry. Well, okay, that begs another question. You always gotta have a little bit of comic relief in there, right? Because that's part of what sets people at ease.
It's Party in the Fire.
Well, okay, they don't have to be like on fire, but they could one night of the bonfire all sit down and just be like so fucked up over the whole situation and they decide to do what people aren't supposed to do in horror movies and get shit-faced drunk.
Pick someone. Let me take your skin.
And then
Rumpelstiltskin.
And then the now he takes your babies. Here for your son, Chuck. I'm sorry. Oh God! And then it just brings me to the fucking Saturday Night Live. Knock knock. What is that? It's the plumber. I've come to fix the sink, and it's actually a shark. Yes, if you have not seen that, I'm sure it's on YouTube. It's Gilda Radner, and it was some fucking funny shit.
I chuckle here and take the baby.
You chuckle here for your kid. Well, that's what Rumpelstiltskin did. The girl lied and said she could turn straw into gold, and she couldn't do it. And Rumpelstiltskin came and said, "I'll do it for you, but you gotta pay me a price, unless you know my name." And she does it, and she marries the prince, and they have a baby. And about a year later, I think it is, Rumpelstiltskin shows up and says, "I'm here for your baby because you don't know my name." And she cheats and finds his name, and yeah. They also really fucked up.
Yeah, there.
This little leprechaun thing came and helped me, and I like bullshitted it and fucked it up and still got my way. Anyhow.
You're funny.
No, actually, I'm not funny. That is actually how the fable goes.
Hey, you know we can use fables too.
Yes, I know. You could do a really fucked up version of like Hansel and Gretel. Do it like a modern day Hansel and Gretel.
No, goodness.
They did. There's so many different things you could do, and you could do them in such a twisted way. I mean, come on. If Disney can fuck up The Little Mermaid, we can fuck up any fable we want.
You gave me a deadly tower.
Well, think about it. There is a statue of the Little Mermaid in Holland, I believe it is. Isn't that where Hans Christian Andersen's from?
Mm-hmm.
And that was long before Disney did The Little Mermaid. Did you know that Hans Christian Andersen actually wrote The Ugly Duckling?
No, I didn't.
And The Ugly Duckling that you know is about a fraction, like an eighth of the story. The Ugly Duckling was actually Hans Christian Andersen's autobiography. and he was the ugly duckling.
Wow.
And the story was never intended for children. But somehow there it is. And I'm sure the Grimm Brothers stories were never intended for children.
No, they
Little
weren't.
Red Riding Hood? Wasn't that a Grimm Brothers? Okay, well. Oh, my grandma got eaten by a wolf. La-di-da. I can't tell that's not my grandma because I'm oblivious. Right?
That is me. Oh, man. That just reminds me of.
Yeah, I was a very skeptical child, to say the least. I'm like, how the fuck does she not know? Well, I didn't say fuck because I wasn't allowed to cuss, but I'm like, how does she not know that some wolf and that her grandma can say? You know, I've never met a person that looks like a wolf. Yeah. Was it Hansel and Gretel a Grimm Brothers story too?
Yeah, well.
Yeah. So what was the basic gist of the Grimm stories? There is a basic gist to all of their stories. Don't go in the woods! Right? Come on now, don't go in the woods! The big bad wolf will eat you in the woods.
And sometimes he tell you everything. Please wait till I'm finished. You need to say yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, honey, I must confess that I've been cheating on you. Is that okay? Thing?
I'm in love with a man. Man, yes I am. Yes, of course. And that's the song out of all of that movie that you pick out. Right on. But anyhow.
Hey, you say don't go in the woods, and that's all I think.
Yes, I know. Well, there's two songs I think of two things I think of when I think of that. Yes. But anyhow, so the Grimm Brothers, and what time frame was the Grimm Brothers written? Was that 15th century? I want to say it was between 15th and 17th. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a good thing I have a good friend named Google.
It's a good friend you have, Frugal.
Yes, it's a good thing I have Frugal. Because Frugal will tell me everything I need to know if I can figure out how to word it right.
Frugal.
Yes, me and my wordies.
English is not a good subject.
Dude, people want to talk about how English is so fucking easy. Yes, pronounce my last name, motherfuckers.
That one was hilarious. They tried so hard.
Okay.
Were they trying to spell Worcestershire?
I think so. 1812.
18th century. Ooh.
So I was thinking way before that. The 7th edition of their stories was done in 1859. Okay, so even then, in 1812, that still makes sense.
That it does.
Yes, Grimm's fairy tales, originally known as the Children's and Household Tales. That's kind of sadistic, if you ask me. Okay.
He used to have this book on the lifespan of everything. Like the coolest book ever.
Okay, so I thought this was kind of cool. The Grimms believed that the most natural and pure forms of culture were linguistic and based in history. They, of course, influenced a bunch of fucking writers. But so, if that is the case, what does that mean? The Frog King? Really? Cat and mouse in a partnership. Mary's child. That one's probably the most scary of all. Wonder if that's where they got Rosemary's Baby from. The story of the youth who went forth to learn what fear was. You know what that makes me wonder?
What?
Okay, I'm gonna Google this shit too because this makes sense. Hang on. Yes, I'm keeping it secret. Y'all have to wait, just like I do. Okay. Okay, and here we are, even in 2014 and 2018. My goodness. Okay, so it was saying how they, hmm. Are you kidding me? Okay, hang on a second. Oh, stop it. I hate when they do that to you. Okay. Okay, so the Grimm brothers and their obsession with wolves was actually a cultural thing because during that time, Germany had a massive problem with wolves. So, what were the Grimm fairy tales telling these people to do? So the wolf don't eat you. So there was actually a method to their madness, and the reason that they did it the way that they did it was because they needed to frighten the people to get them to listen.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, right?
Right.
I do know that in Europe in the 1500s that there was a massive, around France, I believe it was, there was a couple of packs of wolves that were rabid. And that is part of where, and they were attacking people. And if you get bit and you get rabies, you start foaming at the mouth and crazy shit starts happening to you. And that's part of where the werewolf tales came from. So, yeah, so the Grimm, okay, so how do you take something cultural and put it in there to explain something is what I'm trying to figure out. And it's kind of cool finding out that, I always thought the Grimm Brother fairy tales were really fucking gruesome. And I never understood why in the day and age that I lived that it needed to be so gruesome. I mean, fuck, I grew up and they're doing shit like the Fox and the Hound. And Grimm fairy tales are like, let's kill all the kids because the wolf ate them. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
So, in that aspect, you need to look at the cultural aspect of your monster. Right?
Right.
Why does it do the things that it does? Because that's going to help you with your story.
I've got more research I gotta do.
What you wanted to do this differently and decided that the best way to do it was to take a completely psychological mindfuck route. But in doing this, people, in the way that you want to do this game, people will actually learn about themselves if they're paying attention.
Yeah.
And well, something I'm big about, and you know this because I'm always telling you this, and I probably brought it up on this ring a million fucking times, but the only thing that we can control are the choices we make. And well, what makes a good person and what makes a bad person? What situation would make somebody do something that in any other light we would find horrible and awful and disgusting and unthinkable to the point where it's completely acceptable? Right? Because isn't that exactly what we have to do?
Yeah.
So how are you going to make what these people are going to do completely acceptable?
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to give depth to a monster? Because from what I've read, skinwalkers don't just run around killing people for no fucking reason.
Yeah, they have cause to. They're
So,
some of the most brutal people that we go after.
or according to the native legends, somebody that sees them when they're out stalking. And I haven't found the reason for why that is just yet. But if I ever find it, I will tell you.
Alright.
He's just very adamant he wants to come sit in the window.
You heard me. Can I look on you? Can I look on you? You let me spin him around a couple of times too.
That cat's spin behind the chair, I love it. And if you don't spin him, he'll run from across the room and jump on the back of the chair and spin himself. And he'll let you lay him on the ground and spin him in circles.
Yeah, that's what I just did.
Yeah, he likes that too. He's weird. I love my little crazy cat. It's complete and total trust.
So he completely trusts me because I was able to just do that.
Mm-hmm.
That was great.
Yeah,
Because he even went like this, and he's like, okay, and he made me take his paws and go.
I used to do that when he was, I'd give him catnip, and he'd want to grab my hand with his claws, so I'd grab his butt and I'd spin him in a circle in the catnip. And he just got to really like that, so at any given point, if he's in the mood, he'll lay down and assume his position to be spun.
Don't do that to Anubis.
She let me do it once.
Why should I do it?
She got freaked out, but she liked it at first, but then she got freaked out.
See, and I told you about the day she balanced on my arms, right?
Yes. It's solely a trust thing, honey, with him. But you also gotta remember, I've had him since the day he was born. That's why he's trying to get the door to get in here. Interesting problems. But okay, so anyhow, back to what we were talking about. How do you keep this authentic but make it interesting? And yes, your story is very important before you get to your map, because your story is going to say what's going to happen, so you know what terrain you need and what you need to put where. I mean, how far is it from the point of impact to them finding the boat? How far is that? How long into the game is that? So you got to fill in all of that gap there. And didn't we agree that finding the boat was about the halfway point of the game?
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got the beginning, the middle, and the end, right? So now we have to fill in the rest of it. And we've got pretty much the whole first segment done. We've got the intro, We've got the beginning, which is telling you why things are going the way they're going, and during that time is when you're going to learn about what's stalking you, right?
Right.
And then we've got to go from that point to the end point. So that's going to be the harder part, is the ending part of the game, because yeah, we've got a good beginning, but the end is going to be hard to fucking figure out to make sense. At least I think it is.
Sorry, I
Because
was just knocking it out in my head.
no, that's good. That's good. Because what you should do right now, if you're going to build the map, is work on the intro. Because we got to figure out where we're going to put the base camp, right?
Right.
You got to figure out how the river is going to go before. Whoops, we fucked up, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to decide if they're going to follow the river or if they're going to walk into the woods and try to find a trail. And if you're in a part of the woods that is traversed at all other than the river. Does that make sense?
Yeah. That does make a lot of sense.
So, I mean, and that's decisions that you have to make before you can really think about your climate. Because, okay, do they stay close to the river? Do they go into the woods? Do they try to climb up the mountain to get a view? Do they think that there is a road 10 miles this way? Does one of them have a compass?
I think one of them should have a compass.
Do they know how to read it? Is it broken? I mean, little details like that are going to make a world of difference in the gameplay. And that's how in-depth you've got to think about this, is every little fucking detail.
The compass depends on if it breaks or not. If it's in the other boat, you're gonna find a broken compass.
Okay, well, how about the fact that you can take a sewing needle and a little thing of water and a leaf, and you can use that as a compass. You know that, right? Yes. So that's where comes in the survival stuff. Who knows what? Who gets broken off from the pack, and do they know how to survive or not? Do they, and you don't have to have the skinwalker kill everybody. You could have people just wander off in the middle of the night because they're like, yeah, fuck this shit, we're dead anyway, and I'm dead if I stay with you. And then you find them later on, or pieces of them, or what did you guys say, that they like to string them up and skin them?
They either hang from the tree or they skin them and bury them in the shallow
I mean, okay, so you could go in true horror movie fashion that somewhere near the end of the game, you walk into a bloodbath, and it's not just the people that were with you. Well, the river could be really big for tubers. And they stop to have lunch, and somebody sees the skinwalker, and whoop, you're dead.
Yep.
And don't they collect bodies?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, so if you want to go in true horror fashion, that would be fucking freaky as fuck. And that could be one of your tests for Emma. You walk into this place that's like the Blair Witch Project, only it's dead bodies, not fucking sticks, and you're a 10-year-old girl. What are you going to do? And that's your super fucked up element, is that you've got a kid in there. Okay, what's two things in horror movies that fuck people up the most?
Kids and I don't know the other one.
Okay, think of Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Premarital sex, huh? That's what you're worried about? What's on your mind, sweetheart?
No, when you say Friday the 13th, I think that's
Okay,
that
what are the
episode.
2 things in that movie that they make you believe die, or are concerned that they? One of them they make you believe is dead. The other one you think is going to die. What are they? Because those are the 2 things in that movie that fucked me the most up. The teenagers were a given, but these 2 weren't.
The kid and the dog?
Yes, the kid and the dog. And why is that? There's one very simple reason for it. Which is why they are also the things that usually get fucked with the most in horror movies.
I don't know.
Because they embody pure innocence. Right?
Right.
So, you have a child and a dog relying on other people to get them through a fucked up situation, and not everybody can be relied on. And if you're going with A Sign of the Times, I think that the alternate story for Alicia and Emma would be better. Because when you look at sibling relations these days, they'd let her die. I highly doubt many people would finish the game with Emma alive. But when you make that your child, it becomes a whole other ball game. You will do whatever the fuck it takes. But that also, because of the urgency to save your child, you're going to make wrong decisions, because that's what parents do. Because they're trying to do what's best, but they're under pressure and they don't know what's going to be the outcome either way.
Yeah.
So you are psychologically fucking with these people. Well, make the right choice or she dies. Right?
Right.
Make the right choice or you die. Find all the pieces or you won't be able to survive. Well, isn't that along the lines of what we were talking about? That you really, really wanted to do?
Yeah.
I mean, and you can embody everything that you want to do. You just have to write the story right.
Yeah.
And you know me. You give me a basic outline and you give me my characters and I'll bring you gold. I have a very sick mind and I love to put it to paper. I wouldn't say that. I just have a lot of pent-up rage that I'd rather put it on paper than hit things. But anyhow. So that's part of why I've been trying to pull you into the process of the story, because once we have the story, your math is going to be easy, right?
Right.
And now you're not looking at it from the victim's point of view, you're looking at it from the predator's point of view. And that will make... Okay, a skinwalker can traverse things better than humans can, right?
Yes, they do.
So you're going to make this in favor of the skinwalker because it fits place.
Exactly.
Okay, so that creates problems for the humans, which is what you need. Isn't that what video games are? Is basically figuring out a bunch of fucking problems?
Yeah.
Well, like the good ones.
Yeah, the good ones are normal and that.
Okay, so that's something I want you to think about, because that's kind of where I'm going with it. Since you kind of put me in charge of the storyline and shit, I'm like, okay, how do we do this to where it is... And you gotta have the comic relief points and stuff to bring people's anxiety down, and then that's when you do your jump scares, when people are relaxed. Oh, look, the dog came back. We're gonna go pet the dog. Oh, fuck, that's not the dog. It just ate my arm, right?
That's funny. That's hilarious.
But that's what you need to do. That's like how these things work. That's what people expect, and a lot of people, if that's not in there, are going to be like, fish. I mean, a lot of the games you play, I just don't see the point in them. I mean, I get it. It's a time waster. You do it with your friends. It's something that relaxes you and you enjoy them, but I personally have better things to do than run around a world that's too large to fucking figure out.
No, I like Dying Light for its storyline, so.
Well, see, and that's fine. I'm just different, and that's something that you've got to understand is that, okay, you know who your target market is, right?
Right.
Okay, so with this target market, how do you reach more of them? There are certain elements that you're going to have in them to reach more people, because right now this would be a very niche game. So if you added some of the other elements to it, it wouldn't be so niche, right?
Right.
And while there is a lot of people that like that niche, you do better with a wider audience. And it would appeal to other gamers. Gamers that do other games that would be like, hey, that actually was really cool. And maybe, oh, I really like the storyline, or I really like that I get to be a fucking skinwalker and go chase people around the fucking woods.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be really cool.
So, I mean, that's something that you've always got to think about through the whole process is who your target audience is and how you can expand on that. Because that's what's really going to help you in the long run with it, is expanding on your audience. And you're already off in left field, and I'm like, nope, stay here. Come on, come back, because we're going to figure it out right here with this. And once you figure it out right here with this, the next one's going to be easier because you've already got a formula. You have your blueprint of how to do it from there. And then all you have to do is figure out the terrain and the storyline. You already know the elements you need in it. You just have to figure out the terrain and the story.
Yeah.
I still think that you should do the Chernobyl game. Do it like Ghosts, and make it Ghosts and stuff. I mean, I think that would be, because there is some crazy shit that is legend around there.
Because I didn't even want to research it. So there's nothing saying I can't make it.
But be careful and do it very tastefully. I don't know if you heard about the thing that's going on with Chernobyl right now. Oh ho ho ho.
The people
like totally not fucking cool. I guess that there was a new revival of people being interested in Chernobyl, so a bunch of influencers have been going to Chernobyl, sometimes illegally, and taking half-naked pictures in the middle of the radioactive wasteland.
Wow.
And the people are saying that it's disrespectful to the people that lost their lives there. And I agree. I mean, that is... Well, okay, first off, you're dumber than fuck. They give you the suit for a reason, you dumbass. And you're going to come back here and wonder why in 20 years you have radiation poisoning to some degree. Because they even said, at this point, walking in there, to the points where these people were walking in there, it is still highly radiated. Why do you think people haven't returned yet if they can't? I was watching a documentary on it when we first started talking about the game, and they took a Geiger counter with them. And that place is still so fucking radioactive, it's not even funny. Now you need to stop and think about this for a second. When you're an X-ray tech, because you are being exposed to radiation, you get a special badge. And it takes how much radiation that you have been exposed to, and it stores the information in it. And once you hit a certain point, you have to quit doing it or your health is at risk. Because you have experienced X amount of radiation. Okay, when I worked for the medical supplier, we used to go pick up the Sharps container. One of the places we had to go was to the chemo lab. And they literally have this vault that they put them in. And these containers had to sit in this vault anywhere from 3 to 6 months to a year. I mean, I remember one being in there for a whole fucking year. And when we go in there, he'd open it up. We'd have to stay way back from it. And he'd open it up and he'd take a Geiger counter and a Geiger counter, I guess it's called. Sorry, Geiger, ha. But he would run it over it and he'd be like, nope, it's still too radioactive. Okay, so if they do this at a hospital for chemo patients, what do you think it's like at Chernobyl? They said right now you still can't go see the elephant's foot because if you were to walk up to it, just walking up to it, you would die of radiation sickness. You would get, you would be overly radiated, and you would not survive seeing it. And radiation sickness is horrible. It is a horrible fucking way to go because you basically boil from the inside out.
No, the research I did there to
Who was the guy? I know you researched the guy because I told you to go look him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember what his name is. The guy that they knew he had radiation poisoning, and he kept begging him, "Please just fucking kill me because this is miserable," and he knew he was gonna die. But they kept him alive as long as they possibly could, just to study him like a lab rat. And that was like one of the cruelest things you could have done to somebody. So, like, we totally segued on that one, but that was, but that's kind of what I'm saying. You got to think about all of this stuff because the way that your game is received is going to be very sociological, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to offend people with the story.
So I might want to study a little bit more on sociology.
Well, that or just start paying attention. I've taught you a lot about sociology and mob mentality and the reason why we follow stupid trends and do the things that we do because of society.
Well, I also look at anthropology too because looking up the.
Well, that's a very broad spectrum, honey. So what part of anthropology? Okay, sociology, psychology, cultural anthropology, archaeology, primatology.
We should look at cultural.
Okay, so cultural is easy. You study the culture that it comes from, which you've already been doing. That's what cultural anthropology. Well, cultural anthropology is basically immersing yourself in the experience. But no puppy mirrors, buddy. No puppy mirrors. No puppy mirrors. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! It's okay, Alfred. Your buddy's okay. But I mean, when you think about it, there's actually a lot more to it than you really think. And well, okay, if you were making a mindless get the rings, fucking kill the bad guy, Sonic type game, you wouldn't have to do any of this. And the fact that you wanted to do it as a total psychological game, and that's basically what it is. It's a game. It's a head game. The whole fucking game is a head game. Then you have to know how people work, especially the type of people that you're going to have in the game. And well, I'm sorry, but there's enough things that you can study about things that go on in society that you can figure out how these people would think and how they work. I mean, you could even Chad, you could fashion after a serial killer. I'd say Ted Bundy myself, but that's just because he was real suave.
Yeah. I can see that.
So,
Give
okay.
him the same personality as Ted Bundy.
And then if you want to do Derek and Chad as that type of person, then you would want to do like the Hillside Stranglers or oh god, who is that? Lake and Yin? Nin? You can't pronounce his last name ever. But and then there's Tool and the other guy. Oh my goodness, there's yeah. So there's a couple of different ones, but there is a literal dynamic between them that is present in all pairs that are male bonded that do it. But there is a different dynamic between a man and a woman.
Yeah.
And the irony part of it is that some of the male woman ones, the woman was the aggressor, not the man, and she was the worst of them, which is really out of character for women. So there's always anomalies. But the other thing is that the breakup between all of these people is because one of them is always lesser. One of them is the leader and the other one is the like-minded follower. And what eventually happens is either the leader gets tired of them and removes himself from the situation, or the follower grows a set and says, you know what, I could do what this son of a bitch does because I'm smart too, and goes off and does it and gets caught just like Kenneth Bianchi did. So you can actually take real life psychology and put it into your characters to make it more realistic.
Yeah.
And well, for the people that don't study serial killers, they will be blown the fuck away. What the fuck? People would really do that? This is so fucked up. Well, yeah, there's several groups of people that have done that.
Yeah.
So those are all decisions you have to make. How do you want your characters to be? Is Maria the battered housewife, or is she a strong woman that's like, nah, I see shit going wrong and I need to get the fuck up out of here? And then you have to make these decisions of how you're going to make your characters, and that's going to change everything. If you put a weak character in a place where it should be a strong character, you're going to fuck the whole flow up.
Yeah. I actually can see it. Sorry, I'm not putting it out.
Well, if they're supposed to be best friends, I think that they should be like one of the serial killer pairs, because birds of a feather flock together, right? So maybe he hasn't killed anybody, but he's curious.
Yeah.
But when it comes right down to it, the reason why Chad kills him and his wife is because he just couldn't do it. And he realized that they're not the same.
I can see that.
Let's move up.
I gotta get up that sucks.
Okay. You better go to bed. I'm just going to sit here and stare at your screen and make people think I'm going to talk.
We're going to end stream here tonight because I gotta get up early.
Oh, see, you are so abrupt. You could just be like, yeah, we will explore this option. Maybe tomorrow, maybe at a later date. But it's definitely something to think about.
Yes.
You are horrible at closing.
Yes, I am.
You're just like, we're like mid-conversation on a roll. You're like, oh, gotta go, bye, see ya, fuck this. I'm like, you're godchild. You don't say hello. You know, fucking, you get to just bye. This isn't a telephone conversation. Wind them down, tell them, you know what? The serial killers we were talking about have all been caught, and most of them are dead today. So you don't have to worry about that, except we're in our video game right now.
Yes.
But there are other ones out there, so you don't worry about them, so it's still kind of fucked up. Gee, that didn't help, did it? Don't go in the woods!
But everybody have a wonderful night. We will definitely touch on this tomorrow.
Well, even if not tomorrow, at another time, because we're still building characters and we're still working on the storyline. We've got a good skeletal storyline. It's a matter of filling it in. Yes, Spock is helping. He's getting in here. The cat's gonna kill me.
But
Have a good night, or day, or morning, or whatever it is.
whenever you see this. And we will see you guys.
Oh, just say peace out and do it.